Halo Fleet Battles, what I've learnt in 1 month of playing. Hey there, fellow Halo enthusiasts. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are venturing into the vast expanse of space with Halo Fleet Battles. It's been a month and a bit since I first set sail among the stars, and let me tell you, it's been a wild ride. So grab your energy sword, polish your Mjolnir armor, and let's discuss the good, the bad, and the plasma broadsides. The UNSC. My primary fleet currently belongs to the UNSC. I made the deliberate choice to focus on one faction, mastering their tactics before delving into the Covenant side of the battlefield. The UNSC embodies humanity's spirit of survival. They've adapted, turning cargo ships into formidable warships, duct taping mass accelerator cannons onto anything that floats, and sending Marines into the fray with a grin on their faces and a Sweet Williams between their teeth. Their ability to make do with limited resources defines their resilience. In the game, the UNSC play the role of Alpha Strikers. Their ships generally have longer ranges and lack any native reduction to ranged attacks. As a result, they can deliver devastating Newtonian punches with their fraction of the speed of light Mach rounds. Ship highlights: Paris-class frigates. These ships are essentially papier-mâché. With very limited saves and tiny damage tracks, I've come to expect losing them by the handful. Most firing solutions aimed at a Paris-class frigate tend to deal significant damage. Marathons. Currently my backbone ships. They have average UNSC stats across the board. Sometimes they surprise enemies by shrugging off plasma lances, but other times they infuriate me by failing simple saves against torpedoes. The Paired Marathon or Cerberus Specialist Group is a must-have in my fleets. Their special ability to roll 2 Mach dice instead of 1 can rack up vulnerable tokens on opponents. Valiants. Think of them as the beefier cousin of the Marathon. They boast better stats overall. If the points allow, I recommend making them the mainstay of your fleet composition. Epoch class carriers. These are the default choice for large element if you are using the special small, medium, large fleet building requirement. They provide access to larger hangars and probably your only carrier action. While not specifically great in a slugfight, keeping them operational as long as possible to regenerate your rings is crucial for both harassing enemy frigates and protecting your own assets. Guardian Spirit Phoenix Specialist. Guardian Spirit Phoenix. This element is a headache for your enemies. With save dice close to Covenant levels, large damage tracks, and significant offensive capabilities, it demands attention. Combined with Lord Hood's repair ability, and it becomes even more resilient. However, note that it doesn't have a carry action. Lesson learned for me. The Guardian Spirit Phoenix ignores damage token reduction and can regenerate borders throughout the game. I've yet to use the regular Phoenix in a match. Specialist Battle Groups. I've been experimenting with various ships available to the UNSC, including their specialist variants. These battle groups often serve as the main damage dealers in my fleets. The UNSC has access to several strong ones, just like the Covenant. The Paired Marathon or Cerberus Group and the Guardian Spirit act as tanks for the UNSC, forcing opponents to focus on removing them. It's all about calculated maneuvers and making the most of limited resources, just like the UNSC itself. Shield War Paris Frigates. Shield War Paris frigates often start under the radar, initially ignored by the opponents, until they close the distance and cripple a capital ship. Their surprise effectiveness lies in their ability to strike with good combined Mach shots. Reinforced Marathons versus Paired Marathons. While both Reinforced Marathons or Barrage Group and Paired Marathons have their merits, I lean toward the latter due to what I consider a superior ability. Paired Marathons roll 2 Mach dice, potentially adding 2 vulnerable tokens to your enemy. In contrast, Reinforced Marathons only get to re-roll their critical hit dice. UNSC Wings, Longswords, Broadswords, and the Fancy Saber. UNSC Wings tend to be faster overall, but the key difference lies in their composition. UNSC gained larger bomber formations, but fewer interceptors, while the Covenant followed the opposite pattern, with smaller bomber formations but larger interceptor. While I haven't faced the Covenant's special wings yet, UNSC Sabres can dominate the battlefield if given the chance. These multi-role interceptors excel at decimating enemy wings and dealing respectable damage to smaller enemy frigates. Commanders in the fray. In my games, I've experimented with two commanders, Stanforth and Lord Hood, and the hero character, Cortana. Stanforth. A versatile generalist commander, Stanforth's order dice can buff various aspects of the UNSC arsenal, ship-to-ship attacks and boarding actions mainly. His ability to reduce enemy successes can significantly impact a ship's survival, especially for the UNSC's higher damage track elements. Lord Hood. Considered by me a fleet commander, Lord Hood's ability focuses on altering or improving fleet elements. His potential ship repairs can frustrate opponents as he not only fixes ships but also restores their titanium armor if they reach full repair. And when the dice align, his engage and strength ability can turn the tide of battle dramatically. Imagine obliterating a troublesome Covenant DDS with 40 Mac dice in a single firing solution. I've done it and it's immensely satisfying. Cortana. Cortana's primary benefit for me lies in the access to more command dice, especially crucial for Hood's ultimate ability. Hero characters like her can share dice, which is fantastic. Additionally, her Ghost in the Machine ability disrupts opponents' plans. Facing a specialist group, apply neg-2 firepower and suddenly their formidable ships feel like floating bathtubs. This tactic works particularly well against plasma weapons at long range, rendering them nearly impossible shots. Save mechanics, UNSC versus Covenant. The main difference between UNSC and Covenant ship elements lie in their save mechanics. UNSC ships have titanium armor, which functions similarly to the Covenant's defense array, essentially Covenant shields. Both involve rolling to reduce incoming damage. However, there's a catch. Once a ship sustains damage, it loses access to titanium armor. In contrast, Covenant ships always have their defense arrays active. This means that once a UNSC ship takes damage, subsequent firing solutions become more lethal to them. As a UNSC commander, you'll need to accept losses and mitigate them as best you can. Range dynamics. The UNSC's lack of range penalties on their mass accelerator cannons give them an advantage in long-range engagements. Meanwhile, the Covenant's plasma weapons suffer a penalty at long range but gain a bonus at short range. This dynamic often encourages Covenant players to be aggressive and close the gap to exploit these rerolls. It's like a cosmic game of keep away. Learning the intricacies. The early games, where we learn the hard way and sometimes get our fleets obliterated. But hey, at least I had fun, right? Understanding the intricacies of Halo Fleet Battle takes time. Learning how firing salvos work is crucial, especially when dealing with different firepower values by the same weapon type. As an example, I have one element of Paris Arrowhead formation and one element of a supported Marathon. They are both firing at a Covenant SDV with their max. The SDV has elusive and so is neg-1 firepower for the Marathon. I assumed this meant they had to fire separately, and as such, the Covenant gets to roll two different saves. This isn't the case. You just roll the dice separately, then combine them at the end. The opponents still only make the save against the combined total. Terrain matters. Terrain, often overlooked but oh so important. Having more varied terrain on the battlefield opens up strategic possibilities. Suddenly, you're not just charging down the middle, you can attempt flanking maneuvers, use cover, and surprise your opponent. It's like turning a barren expanse of space into a tactical chessboard. My initial games we had very limited terrain and so we're essentially fighting in open space. With no cover for both sides, there was no choice but to rush down the middle. Damage track. Seemingly arbitrary numbers initially, these three numbers define the effectiveness of your elements to take damage and stay in the fight. The difference between a 6 and an 8 can make a huge difference to how long a ship stays around and shouldn't be underestimated. Wings and bombers. Wings add a layer of excitement. The delicate dance of positioning your bombers for maximum impact while avoiding enemy interceptors. It's like a ballet in space. Targeting smaller ships with bombers is usually the way to go. Those frigates won't know what hit them. Boarding actions, sometimes a mixed bag, I feel. The limited 12-inch range means they often come into play later in the game. And then when you are finally in range to launch, will sometimes result in nothing really happening at all. The community updated rules revamps this for more impactful actions for boarders, but I still feel like it could be revamped a bit more. Keeping the game alive. Playing the game in 2024. Sadly, as you may be aware, Halo Fleet Battles is an out-of-print game by a company that closed over 7 years ago. While Spartan Games had the reins, you could tell the passion was there, but unfortunately it seems things didn't work out how they may have hoped, and their big plans fell short. What this means is the game can not only be hard to get into for some people, but finding opponents can be even harder. I am fortunate that I have a small group of people willing to play and learn with me, but introducing and finding more players has been one of the hardest parts of the experience so far. Community to the rescue. My hat's off to the passionate community members who've stepped up to keep the game alive. Their dedication, donating time, knowledge, and resources is commendable. From rules to ships to reference material, they've got us covered. It's heartwarming to see fans rally together. Original print Halo Fleet Battle content is getting harder and harder to find, and the price people are trying to charge seem to go up with every box resold. And so 3D printing may be the only way for some people to get into the game. I'll link their website below. What's coming up? Me and my fellow admirals are currently working on some custom campaigns and maybe some custom rules. I've primarily been playing through the Fall of Reach campaign just to learn the mechanics, and I'm looking forward to expanding to new battlefields. We've also made a custom board for our epic battles, and I am devising a new setup to record some battle reports in the future. And with that, I think I'll wrap it up. So there you have it, fellow fleet admirals, my first month of Halo Fleet Battles. It has been a great time so far. We've danced among the stars, dodged plasma fire, and made more tactical decisions than a grunt trying to choose between two food nipples. And now, as the dust settles, the slipspace rifts close, it's time to sign off. Be sure to follow for more Halo-related content. Halo Flashpoint is close approaching, and I can't wait to move my fire teams through close combat environments. I'll be making some content for that. My Halo Fleet Battles content will be on the way. I'm probably going to do a single video for the Fall of Reach scenarios with some thoughts on that. And so, fellow admirals, until next time, whether you're UNSC or Covenant, stay legendary. Keep your energy shields up, your Mac calibrated, your coffee mugs full.